Don't you just love it when you go to a concert and they come out on the stage and you're all ready to go and they go, wait a minute. This is because of the weather. So I was playing at a show last week or week before. I was telling Christy here, but I started the tune and this lady out across the room goes, that D is a little flat. How's that sound? Yeah. Well, folks, bear with me. I'm new. I don't know what happened here. Yeah, that's what threw me off. I'm wondering how to tune this guitar. There it is. That D was a little flat, wasn't it? Did you do that? Well, hello, everybody. Whoa, this filled up really quick over here, didn't it? Yeah, thank you, fellas. My name's Alan Stanley. This is for the kids in the back. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living in St. George, where we are all friends here. There are no strangers when you walk inside that door. We welcome you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. We are all friends here. There are no strangers when you walk inside that door. We offer you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. All right, one more time, ready? We are all friends here. There are no strangers when you walk inside that door. We offer you to linger in this family of love and hold you in our hearts the way you are. Yes, we hold you in our hearts the way you are. Now we're going to bring up our own Rev Joe Kovach.
Hi, round of applause for the brand new musical talent today, Alan Stanley. Good morning. All right, we did balance out the room a little bit. Thank you. Appreciate that. My neck's already kind of leaning this way. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to February 8th, also known as Super Bowl Sunday. We'll let that one slide, Sue. It'll be a fun day, period. I would like to take a moment to recognize those that are helping make this service what it is. And one of our newest and good to see back volunteers, Jesse, thank you so much for being here and setting up the front. And we have Bill Smith on technical home streaming. Good morning to everybody there. We have...
I just hope Tom Brady wins today.
Can you feel the love in my heart? Who are you? Christy, yes, on doing our amazing audio. So hopefully you can hear at home. If not, leave a message and we will work on that. You already know Alan, and we had Diane, and did the children help as well? We're just going to say they helped. They helped bring in the energy. Thank you. Did I miss anybody? Well, of course, Marina. Where am I missing? Oh, hi, Marina. Yeah, I know. That's okay, though. Welcome. And I see some good faces that I haven't seen in a little while, so the weather must be getting warmer. Maybe it's the whole groundhog thing. I don't know. You came out of your hiding or what? It's good to see you, and this is a wonderful community. Is there anybody here for the first time? Hi, I didn't even see you. Good morning. What's your name? Aubrey. Well, welcome. And hi, I'm going to ask, I probably already know, but how did you hear about us? Pretty Little Lady. Thank you, Steve. Blessed. And do we have, Marina, would you grab our gift bag? What it contains is a past issue of our Science of Mind magazine, just so you have an idea of the kind of philosophy we are. It comes with a heart pin as well, which was part of our, can you believe that installation was back in October? How long, right? Like that was October 17th, and it's already February. It feels like it. It's crazy. So welcome everybody, and welcome Aubrey. And I want to make sure I got everything that I need to get before we move into bring up Sue for our announcements. Are you ready, Sue? Let's do this.
No Zoom today. Every time we meet in person, we don't meet for our Zoom, but we invite you to come to the in-person meeting because we have good food and good social connection. Next in-person service is February 22nd, right here in the same location. It's called Embracing the Possible. That sounds good. Come back. Practitioners are wearing the purple stoles today. Bill and I are available for prayer, and we can meet you behind the private little room back there. If you'd like a moment of prayer, we'd be happy to meet with you. And please contact us by email if something comes up that you want to share and discuss with us. We'd be happy to do prayers for you for any reason. Invest in your spiritual home. We need volunteers. It takes a village to run this, so get involved. That's the best way to meet people and to enjoy what we do here. So do what you can. We appreciate our volunteers. On the back table, such neat books. I went through all of them this morning, and we get new ones every time. People bring books in, and so go back and just donate a little love offering for a book, or bring a book and take a book. We'll enjoy you going to see our library. February 22nd is our next woo-woo workshop, and I am going to be instructing that with vision cards. I think everybody chose to do vision cards instead of vision boards. We used to do it on a poster board, but these have worked really well for me, that it's easy to set up in a frame or put it on the kitchen table, to glance at it and say, oh yes, I put out the intention that I was going to see my family more often, and that everybody loves me. That's a couple of things on this card that I did a couple of years ago, and it really helps. We believe in visioning. And we set a vision, you put pictures of your vision, you think about your vision, and it's much more likely to develop quickly. So come to that. If you're interested, I have a sign-up sheet. I'll put it over on the table if you'd like to come to that on the 22nd at 12:30, right after our service. Please sign up. Upcoming service on the 15th is online with Reverend Joe, and the 22nd is Reverend Rachel Dilling. That it? Okay.
All right, so the next announcement is, well, I'm going to say with a joyful heart, but in case you haven't heard, our founder and beloved Reverend Josie made her transition, and so we just wanted to honor her in that, meaning she passed away. I like to use the word transition, meaning from spirit, or from physical back into spirit. And so her family and friends created this honoring. I'm just going to read it. In honor of Josephine Cortez Castaneda de los Santos, I'm done, that was enough, who passed on February 4th, 2026. Her passing follows the death of her husband, Ricardo de los Santos, on June 25th, 2025. Josie was born on March 18th, 1941 in San Antonio, Texas, to Sarah Cortez and Gregorio Castaneda. Josie regretted not knowing her father well as he entered a sanatorium for TB treatment when Josie was only 3 and passed when she was 15. Josie was 26 when her mother passed. She always spoke highly of her mother and how she raised and protected Josie and her 5 sisters and 2 brothers in Wisconsin. Oof. Josie received a bachelor's in liberal arts at Alverno College, Milwaukee in 1986. She enjoyed traveling the U.S. looking for the right place to settle and found San Diego. She studied to become a practitioner at the Centers for Spiritual Living Seaside, CSL Seaside, with Reverend Christian Sorensen. She was a leader among 50 practitioners and created an international ministry serving orphanages in Tijuana, Mexico. Josie met Ricardo at a Christmas party where she had his full attention, and it wasn't till later that she learned he had been there with a date. They married in November 2004. Ricardo had been previously married and had cared for his wife through cancer treatment and her eventual death. Ricardo had 3 children, Jimmy, Deborah, and Joe, whom Josie adored, along with his grandsons Andrew and Benjamin. Ricardo supported Josie in all her ministerial duties and faithfully attended to her during her cancer treatment in 2017. Josie retired from management from San Diego State University, and the couple moved to St. George, Utah in 2004. She quickly became involved in spiritual communities in the area. She facilitated Diane Harmony's 5 Gifts for an Abundant Life class at Reverend Doug Fogelson's CSL in Las Vegas. She led CSL discussions group in Mesquite. In St. George, she assisted Luigi, the leader of the Unity group, and attended the Exploring Oneness group and participated in visioning for the World Peace Gardens. Reverend Josie had a dream of bringing a CSL center to St. George. Josie started a Sacred Circle study group held at the Meadows Care Center at the same time that she was traveling monthly to San Diego to complete an accredited Master's of Consciousness Studies degree from the Ernest Holmes Institute in 2012. Then, as a brand new CSL minister, she started a teaching chapter where they first met in a small location on Tabernacle. That means locally here. Josie joked about it being like a railroad car, looking from the front door straight back to the kitchen. After being ordained in 2016, Josie christened an official center of spiritual living located at 1400 West off Sunset Boulevard. This community, steeped in pioneer spirit, saw another pioneer ready to bring a new thought of science of mind to the red hills of St. George. Her enthusiasm, determination, and faith built a foundation that holds strong even today. Josie was a teacher, inspirational speaker, workshop and retreat facilitator, a spiritual practitioner, and a growth consultant. She said, quote, "It was through the many life experiences of my journey that I discovered my soul's longing to express what I offer to the world, love, compassion, sacredness, and wisdom," end quote. Josie served as a senior minister until cancer treatment led to her retirement in 2018. Josie lovingly cared for Ricardo as he experienced Parkinson's disease until he was admitted to the veterans home, and then she began a second cancer journey. With faith and strong conviction, she continues to be a spiritual minister and teacher to her friends and family. And I just like to take a moment to honor her. Without, we stand on her shoulders. Without her, I would not be here. We would not be here. So let's take a moment of silence to honor her, please. Okay, we're going to move into our Flames of Faith ceremony. Oh, yes, thank you. The information for her celebration of life is right there for everybody to see. Everybody is welcome to attend if you feel so called to do so.
It's actually Silver Creek Clubhouse.
Oh.
That's my mistake.
Oh, okay, Silver Creek. Okay, well, when we put that out, we make that correction, please? Thank you, Marina. Bless you. Okay. Would anybody like to volunteer to be my dinger? So, oh. All right. Thank you. Just remember not to put your thumb on it when you ding it. It'll still ding, but yes, perfect. We want a little chime there. All right. We perform the Flames of Faith ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all things, all beings come from one great universal presence, which we like to call spirit. We first light the unity candle, which represents the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here today. Breathe in. We light a candle for shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light a candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light a candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light a candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light a candle for Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light a candle for Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light a candle for Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light a candle acknowledging centers for spiritual living in all forms of new thought, the metaphysical path of a personal relationship of healing through the practice of universal spiritual principle. We light the next candle for inclusivity, affirming that those that are seeking a stronger knowing and understanding of divine love are welcome here. There is nothing outside of God. You are welcome here. And lastly, we light the healing candle and invite you to silently offer into it the light, the names of loved ones, knowing that they are now and always the perfect expression of Spirit's wholeness and love. And so it is. Thank you, sir.
So it is. I was just listening, and I've looked at a lot of this stuff, these different beliefs through my life, and this really had some special meaning for me today. What I finally discovered is it's not out there; it's in here. And this book that we're going through now, Spiritual Economics, Eric Butterworth is explaining the same thing. There's an abundance. It's in here. We don't have to look for it. So I'm glad I picked this song now. I've studied with the best of teachers from winter till fall. Listen to the greatest speakers in the finest of halls. But until I found the silence, I had nothing to show. Because there's more in a quiet moment than I could ever know. I've traveled to the farthest corners of this world alone, pondered all the great religions that mankind has known. But until I found the silence, I continue to roam, because there's more in a quiet moment than I could ever know. There's a place in everybody. Just be still and go, and you'll find in that quiet moment all you wanted to know. From deep inside, our soul is calling, a voice still and small. In a garden full of joy and loving, God made for us all. In our heart a light is shining, showing us the way home. There's so much in a quiet moment. Just be still and go. There's a place in everybody. Just be still and go. There's so much in a quiet moment. Just be still and know.
Good morning. Let's see. I am paraphrasing from a quote from Howard Thurman, who was a contemporary theologian with our Ernest Holmes. In a world, let me bring this closer. In a world-shattering disclosure that the stream of life is a single stream, though it takes various forms as it spills over into time and space. This disclosure is made to those who go on the high adventure with their own spirit, their own inner life. By prayer, by the deep inward gaze, which opens the eyes of the soul to behold the presence of God, a person feels the steady rhythm of life itself. God seems to be behind the scenes of all persons, things, and events. The deep hunger to be understood is at last seen to be the one and the same with the hunger to understand. Out of such an experience, a new perspective emerges. The primary function or mission of life becomes that of achieving in act what one has experienced in insight. This is the point at which the spirit is most highly sensitized for communication. If a person is moved from within their own spirit to minister to the need of another, then it follows that the good deed is a meeting place for the mingling of one life with another. What a person has experienced in insight, they achieve in the deed. What a difference giving makes now. It is no longer an offering merely of money or time or services, viewed as a sacrifice or a cause for merit, recognition, or glory. It is a simple sacrament involving all of a person as their spirit moves through the swinging door of need into the very citadel of another's spirit. And so it is. Hey, I would like to offer our invocation. We practice affirmative prayer here. We believe as we believe, so it will be. And we release our prayer to the law, which is the action of God. And so that vision we have can be acted upon and be our manifestation. I speak in the first person as we are all one. And so in this sacred moment of prayer, I recognize the presence of the Spirit, of eternality, of God, the Creator, universal intelligence, many names for one power. And I recognize that power and that same light and spirit within me, within all creation is part of God. And I realize that with that spirit, everything is possible. With the understanding within our hearts that we are one, we give and we communicate and we bring together all the spirits on the earth, where there can be, as our motto states, a world that works for everyone. Fairness, love, equality, unity, all the nature of God. And this fills the earth, and we are emissaries of that practice. I am grateful for CSL, for the things that I learn here, for the opportunity to practice my spirituality. I'm grateful for our leaders, our ministers, for those who give of themselves to keep CSL in motion. Knowing the meeting that happens today is according to Spirit's guidance. And knowing the message comes to each of our hearts wherever we are and helps us to continue to grow and advance, to become closer to each other and closer to our spiritual connection. I release my word, knowing it goes into the law of action. It is acted upon, and it is. And so it is.
Attending CSL St. George shortly after Reverend Josie relinquished her position as senior minister. And fortunately for this center, we had some great leaders step up and lead us through a lot of transition till we got to this point today. A lot of bumps. We loved them all. We learned it's always going to be changing, and we embrace that change. There's a path that we know many people take, seeking truth and some things unexplained. Heading out on a road that is mostly unknown, sometimes can cause trouble and strain. We set out instead, not knowing what's ahead, and wondering what lies around the bend. In faith we know that wherever we go, life's eternal and this road has no end. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. we come together and move along, creating heaven right here at home. We honor the old ways and bless the new. Open our hearts and welcome you. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Deep inside we all know that we only let go and let God lead. There's nothing to fear. The slower we go, the sooner we know, and everything will become clear. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our name. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Our percussion department.
Give it up again for Alan. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And before I forget, one last announcement. Last month, if you remember, we had the miracle of the vanishing certificates, but I have them. We redid them. So if your name was called and we honored you last month, please see me after service, and I would be happy to give those to you. Also, Sue, for you and Rick and Anna, the class certificates came in from CSL. All right, on with our regularly scheduled programming. How are we doing? Let's do a check-in. Is anybody feeling all right today? Yeah. Feeling better than all right today? Yeah. All right, pump it up. So we're going to continue our talk of February, which is embracing the edge. I almost said embracing the change. Throwing me up there. Which is really what we're talking about anyway. And this edge that we're talking about is really dear to my heart because it's really about putting philosophy into action. And I don't know about you, but that seems to be the place where I stumble the most because I have a lot of amazing ideas and things that I know I should do, and then I just should all over myself and never get there. So last week, we kind of introduced this idea of the inner edge, where the inner journey meets the outer journey, where our humanness meets spirit. And perfect song choices again, Alan, thank you, because as you heard Howard Thurman talk, there's that steady rhythm of life. There's that, James Allen would call it the stream of consciousness, and it's always there for us, and yet we tend to avoid it. We tend to not get quiet enough. We tend to not trust ourselves and trust life to support us while we're on that edge. And it's not a place of chaos. It's not a place to be afraid of or where fear really even exists. Because when we get quiet, and it is that quiet. I love meditating, and I love meditating with music, and I love meditating with guidance and all that, but it's just not the same as pure silence. Anybody agree to that? Okay. And so we're going to really kind of talk about what happens when these desires, these deep spiritual insights that we have long for that yearning to be birthed. And talking about the edge, it's personal, isn't it? I can talk about it, but only you know it. You know what I'm saying? And so it's that balance that I call, what was my teacher's name? Amit Goswami, who just released another amazing book on leadership. But he would joke, here's this amazing doctor, and who's been in movies and everything, and he would joke with us. He says, it's the balance of doobie-doobie-doo. I remember like, what are you talking about? But that's what we're talking about, the balance between being and doing. So much of the time we're trying to do, we forget the beingness, and then we're wondering why that doingness doesn't show up like we want it to. And so we're going to talk about that today. We're going to look at the idea of how, again, prayer and meditation and contemplation, creating that sacred and special and spiritual environment, we could do that anytime, anywhere. It doesn't even have to be quiet around us. Reverend Patrick Harbula taught me that. We were meditating at the center in Las Vegas, and my ADD was on full alert because there was a buzzing noise in the air conditioning unit. And it kept getting louder and louder, and I'm like, I'm trying to stop thought here. All I can think about is zzz. And as he was guiding us, he said, and even that beautiful sound of the air conditioning, it's perfect. And then I was like, oh, stop fighting it and just allow it. And that's a big part of the message today, is just to allow what's already there, what's already yearning within you. I love the word desire, because when we feel that, that's already God's Spirit saying yes to what it is. And if we're not aware of that energy, even better. Now it's just like a surprise waiting to be birthed. I realize I don't have my clicker. Thank you, dear. Good. I'm going to say hi to my son at home. He better be watching. So my son, just an update, is actually in Las Vegas, but he's actually working as part of the Marines, and he was a little too afraid to venture too far out of Las Vegas and get in trouble. So he does send his best to all of you, and him and his wife are doing great. So he's definitely learning how to walk that edge, let me tell you. And so with regards to this idea of really this practice, Science of Mind would simply say about this edge that Spirit is there. It's nowhere really we have to go to. We just align with, and in my example of the air conditioning, stop fighting against. Stop telling it, life, spirit, love, how it has to show up through us and for us, and just allow it. Do you really think that that which is unconditional love would ever show up in our life in a harmful or fearful way? That's all our doing. And so when we recognize that technically we are the ones on control of this edge, of what we're letting in, how far we're willing to go, how far we're willing to just keep it inside in thought. And the last couple weeks, what do we say about thought that doesn't move? It becomes not the river, but somebody said it, swamp. Yeah. That feeling, that stuck feeling, because it wants to let itself out in and it's through our life. It's happening for us, not to us. And that's a key reminder that I have to remind myself. What is the blessing in this? Because otherwise it's happening to me and I'm going to resist it and I'm going to judge it, and I literally strip it of its spiritual essence. And everything is happening for us if we but allow it. Because our thoughts are the filters of which dictate exactly what we experience. And that which we call God is so intelligent, it can figure out how to do that for each and every one of us. Think about that. You're all watching me right now talking, and every one of you has a different thought in your head about what I'm saying, if you're even paying attention or not. Therefore, everyone here is having their own spiritual experience. So why would we think, well, I can't have that. That's something for, I'm not educated enough. I'm not old enough, wise enough. I've never taken a class like Alan, or none of that matters. Just first step is to acknowledge this edge, that we're not just human beings clunking around in the universe and it doesn't matter. That we are here by divine appointment because that divinity is who we are. We're having this experience to understand. And what Ernest Holmes would say is that we are surrounded by a divine presence which responds to us as we respond to it. That's the catch. How are you responding to life, to what shows up? It can be tough some days. Turn on the news, go look at Yahoo or MSN and the headlines that try to convince you that this life is absolutely in chaos and the world's going to end. And you can choose to feed into that. You can. And life, because of its infinite intelligence, will continue to deliver that. Because what did we just say? Life will respond to you as you respond to it. I need to be fearful. Look at that. And all the facts that we can point out are only facts because we hold them. They are not truth. It can be a fact, but still not truth, meaning it's not coming from unconditional love. And so the Spirit within us is constantly seeking to express through us. Howard Thurman reminds us again that not just prayer, but the inward gaze is important. To take time, not always just to silence our thoughts, but sometimes to hold a thought. That's a meditation too. To ask a question and hold that question in your mind and allow the infinite intelligence of God and Spirit to answer. And it will. You don't have to be some special guru. There are people, just like anything, there are levels of understanding of consciousness. So those like Yeshua and Buddha and Krishna and all, they came in with a very high level of awareness of knowing. And just so you know, they were all taught too. They didn't roll out of bed and go, oh, I knew this from the beginning. They chose to live human lives as we are living, and they chose to become awake in the way that they do. So how are you choosing to become awake, to walk that edge, to truly recognize that you are worthy, that you are whole, that you are of the one? There is nothing outside of that which we call God or life. It's all happening synchronistically, in unity, in harmony, together. And so there's times when it's just, we take that first step of hearing it, of recognizing myself on the edge, and there's a call, and we just take the step to follow it. My example is something that I learned when I was young, and I realized that as a father, I wanted, of course, to be the best father I could be, and I know my own weaknesses, and I know how I can be brash and cold at times and more factual and literal than loving. And there are also times when I can be very loud. And so I took it upon myself when I'm sitting there after, like, I yell at one of my kids. Yes, I did that. I know. Horrible person I am. But then something didn't sit right. It wasn't even the word sometimes I said, but just like, you know what? I really wasn't even mad at him or her. I was really upset at the thing at work or the other thing that's bothering me or my finances, and they just opened the door for me to release that. And so my practice was going to my own children and apologizing. And I think that has gone a long way. And not just say, I'm sorry, but explain myself so they understand how I'm trying to be better and teach them to do the same. Because it's not about being perfect. My phrase that I've been using with my daughter in her volleyball is, it's not perfection, it's progress. It's progress. And then eventually we get to understanding all progress is perfect. It's as long as we're aligning ourselves. So take a moment and ask, what is that one, we'll call it small, but there is no measurement in life, thing that you know is calling that you can take action on, that I don't know the repercussions of those actions. I've done it most of their lives, and I hope only she and Michael could probably tell you. But I also do the same thing with my students as a school counselor. There are times when I've kind of applied the wrong pressure at the wrong times, trying to motivate or whatnot, and I will go back to them and say, you know what, as a counselor, sometimes you just make a mistake. And I came at you this way. I was really trying to get here and realized it worked backwards, so I want you to know I'm still supporting you. However, you still need to pass your classes. Okay? Here's a phrase. Spiritual insight can only mature when it is acted upon. So, in other words, that growth is not only going to happen by internal thought insight. That's the whole reason we've chosen to come into a physical world. Because I could say, oh, I am so peaceful and loving, and I know the best is going to happen, and then put it into action, and I'm flipping you the finger on the way out the driveway because you cut me off. That doesn't align. Those two thoughts don't align. And that's where the work, if we have work, is, but that's also where the joy is. It's about taking that step and achieving an action, what one has experienced on the inside. So it is important to begin with the beingness, with the thought, with the idea, with the feeling, to create that internally and then step forward on that edge and over the edge. I love this quote by Ernest Holmes. This was one of the first things I wanted to share, kind of insights from the first part, is the edge is where spirit first gets our attention. Now, it's always there. There's no spot where God is not. We have to take that first step and meet it, so to speak. And that is, again, going back to the idea of spiritual practices and being quiet. And it doesn't mean necessarily, too, I don't want you to think of the only way is to sit, cross-legged and be quiet. Often, I just go for a walk, or I'll sit in my backyard and stare up I love watching tree leaves blow. For whatever reason, it just sways my mind. And we're not trying to stop thought. For years, I thought that's what meditation was. You're trying to limit it, to just let things bounce around your mind, but not attach to anyone. So the quote I wanted to share with you from Ernest Holmes is, faith without works is dead, and works without faith are mechanical. You're just kind of doing them with no life within them. Take that in for a moment. So, every one of us has done things on both of these sides, right? In other words, I have this inner calling and I'm not acting upon it. And it doesn't necessarily always mean directly for another person. It may mean serving yourself, doing that thing that you know you need to do, you want to do, the drive is there. And there's just so many things. And we may even know those things, at least we think we do. Well, what can we do to move forward across that? And then on the other side is trying to act when we're really not ready for it. Did you ever try to apologize when you really don't mean it? It doesn't work real well. I've done it, and usually what happens is I just get in a worse argument than the first time, and then I blame the other person, right? That's human instinct. That's what we do until we learn better. My message is always to you to never put me on a pedestal, please. What my job here is to do is to know what I know and share it with you. And there are many areas in life that you know better than I do. So please understand that. I am always open to being corrected. I may not love it, right? But what I do love is being better than I used to be. I love waking up feeling like, oh, I did a better job, and I'm going to do a better job today. So this is why we've chosen to come here in this Earth University and take a master class in co-creation, is to work on this thought, because spirit is consciousness. It is thought. There must be a means of expression, and that's why we've chosen to do this. That is what we choose to believe. Take that with you as you will, but it makes sense to me. Because if we are all of God, right, at some level, we are all that perfection. And yet, if that was all we ever were, even that would be boring, no offense. To take it from a football perspective, being Super Bowl, if you won every game you ever played, why eventually you're like, I want to do something else. As a quarterback, if you completed every single pass and you didn't have to look anymore, and you knew somebody was going to catch it, why play? So I wanted to say that to you to remind you that you already come from that perfect indwelling spirit. It's not outside. It's really not even masked itself. We're just having this experience. But we want to make the best of it. To use an analogy, it's kind of this edge would be like walking to the edge of the cliff in Zion, or a cliff in Zion, and that's one experience. I can look out and I see this whole new world I didn't see until I climbed to the top of it. But then climbing back down and going through that experience and that land is a whole different perspective, is it not? So we can come from this idea of thought and mind, have the best ideas, but we must walk the walk. And keeping in mind that anything we ever do is part of the whole. We may not understand, but we're all in one gigantic pond, and everything we do creates ripples, which affects everybody. Now, we have a say, of course, individually, through free will, of how we allow other things to affect us. But this is in a positive note, that when we struggle and we are able to go through that challenge and come out the other side through growth and transformation, that affects everybody. Life, God, Spirit knows our struggles, knows our strife, knows our shortcomings, and doesn't care. It, God, Spirit, loves us anyway, because it is love, and we are it or God. It took me so long to say it. That's somebody I keep hearing myself say it, to call God it, coming from a Roman Catholic background. And I say that simply because there are days when the idea of calling God a father or a mother or whatever, nature, it's appropriate. It's appropriate. I liken it to when I used to counsel little kids, kindergartners, and they would never get my name right. But I didn't care. I loved them anyway. They're doing the best they could. And I believe that's kind of how life and spirit looks upon us. We're banging around here doing the best we can and helping each other through it. So when insight moves into action, that's when that transformation that I talked about happens. It's only going to happen. Now, there are times when sometimes sitting alone, being quiet, opens up the door, and life will come to us. But so, in other words, that is an action that we need to take. Just choosing to meditate and get quiet is an action in the right way to move through. And this edge is another word for it, is our comfort zone. What are we feeling comfortable about? Comfort is wonderful. Comfort helps us to feel secure. But technically, there's no growth in comfort. Uncomfortableness is actually a good thing, because that's our little mind, our ego, that can only work on what has happened in the past. It's trying to figure out what's going on. It's like, we've never been here, Joe. I do not know what to do. Fear, anxiety, stop. Even when we know logically this new thing is better for us. That's one of the biggest keys that it keeps coming into my consciousness, especially through YouTube, is that idea that when we know we're not choosing the next best path for ourselves, that simply means, and I say simply in context, that we have a thought that we are unconscious of that is linked to a deeper fear that is more powerful than we feel our joy is worth. Does that make sense? Sure. So, when I really want to do something, and I know I'm just not doing it, so this has a benefit. That means I have a fear that achieving this thing unconsciously is going to be more harmful than helpful. So, for example, I want more money, but if I get more money, then people are going to expect more money and gifts, and who knows who's going to come out of the woodwork asking me for money, and then I'm going to feel guilty about passing people along the street. You know what I mean? So that's, again, why getting quiet is so important. And then maybe ask yourself, all right, Spirit, I'd like to contemplate the idea of why I'm not aligning with my abundance, my worthiness. Or why am I not getting into shape the way I should? Why am I not going to the gym? I know it's a better choice. Why am I not quitting smoking or drugs or drinking too much or over-attach anything? It's not just that it's hard, because technically it's not. It's just one moment at a time. It can be challenging. That's different than hard. Challenging is okay, especially when you have a bunch of practices and a community that will support you through that. And it's good. It's another thing that has come out in my life lately is, we need to do things that scare the crap out of us every now and then, because that's growth. Otherwise, what are we really afraid of? Failing? So what? It's how you look at failure. Is failure your state of mind, or is it just an event? Take that in. If I fail at something, and I consider myself a failure, now that's a state of being, and then how are my actions going to show up from that state? I'm a failure. Even in the best way, when I'm trying to love on you, I'm coming from the energy of being a failure. That's going to be very different if I recognize my worthiness and love on you. You understand? I'm not saying, I'm saying it's easy, and yet I'm saying it's not easy. That's the Italian in me. You just got to go with it. All right. So walking the edge, again, I want to focus on that point. You're walking in oneness no matter what. You are loved. You are supported, even when you don't believe it, even when your environment may not feel it. When we come across those times, we want to get to that place, again, to ask ourselves, how am I responding to life, and how is life responding to me? We have a divine relationship with life. It can only assist us, come to us, come through us, as we allow it. That is our divine free will. That is a gift. We get to choose how our life turns out, how we see life. Now, it's going to throw us some curves, because most of the time to get to a place, a straight line is not going to work. If we had all the tools and necessary skills and attributes, then it's a straight line. But a lot of times we end up over here and we're like, wait, how did I end up over here? I'm trying to go over there. This is off the beaten path. And then we judge ourselves. But Spirit knows. And Spirit's like, hey, we need to pick up this little thing over here called a little compassion. You could probably use a little more, so we're going to have this experience, and then we're going to kind of wander, and you're going to kind of get back on track, but then I'm going to take you far left over here because you need to pay attention to what you're saying and how it's coming out, right? It's not a straight line. And so don't judge the journey step by step. Yes, take that step, but end product in mind. If I'm a peaceful, loving person, that's where I'm coming from. Do I care how I get there? In some ways, yes, and in some ways, no, because I have faith that God will lead me, that life will lead me, give me the best experiences, including standing right here. I had this idea in my head ages ago about, at first, I didn't want to lead a center because I didn't think I was worthy, and I didn't think I was a good leader. And then life threw me in some really crazy places where I didn't have a choice whether or not to be. Well, I did, but it was either quit and get fired or show up and try to be the best leader you can be. And I look back at the last, since 2014-ish, our lives have dramatically changed, and here I am. And there are days I still don't feel worthy enough to stand in front of you. And there are times when I'm sitting at home in my office just contemplating the joy of this opportunity and focusing on the growth, and still that mental equivalent, right? Got to have an idea for life to be able to fill it for us. And so I imagine our new center, one we don't have to share, one that my number is 300. I've said that from the beginning, membership. And I know it's possible. It's not my number. I didn't just roll a dice, or it's come to me. And as a matter of fact, it came through another minister who came and told me about a dream he had. So it's got to mean something, and this is the beginning point. This is where we're at the edge, so to speak, as a community. And there are going to be changes in times that challenge us, and if we have the faith and walk together and know that it is happening through us and always for us, then we're good. We're good. I'm trying to watch the time here. Okay. See, Spirit told me all week long that I was going to go off track of what I wrote, and I kept saying no. And yet, guess what has totally happened? Because I don't know where I am in this talk, which is okay. So there's probably, okay, that was a key insight. What we pray into awareness, we must walk into expression. Okay. Then there was a quote, Ernest Holmes. Think of the whole world as your friend, but you must also be the friend of the whole world. And Howard Thurman talked about this, and so does Ernest Holmes. All right. So we can't just expect to receive it without giving it. It's an attitude, giving and receiving, just like we practice with our offering, giving and receiving. And so I guess the message is, as I'm trying to close this because I have no idea where I was going to end up anyway, was to take, first of all, we're on that edge as much as we can and do it joyfully. And when you're uncomfortable, realize you're not alone. And I'm not just talking about spirit. I'm talking about a community. You can reach out to our spiritual coaches or practitioners, as we call them. You can reach out to me. I would easily say that anyone on our leadership team, our core council, etc., will be there to help you and assist you. That's my vision of growing. It's not just numbers. It's 300 people of a community of thinking in the right way. And right way in the sense of divine right way, of truth, of unconditional love, of not judgment as much as we can. And it's not judging in the sense of having an opinion. That's okay. Judging in the sense of I'm better than you or I know more than you, etc. Releasing that. Because we have no idea why somebody else chose this class with us. We don't. We call that soul ideation. Like, why did I choose to come in this life, take this name, choose my parents, etc.? I'm still fulfilling that. Maybe if you haven't asked yourself, maybe that would be a good thing to go into quietness with. What am I here to do next? How amazing can that be? And sometimes it's the most simplest act because you just never know. There's a YouTuber, I forget his name, sorry, but he's a photographer. He's in Britain, and he just walks up to what he considers interesting people on the street, and he says, do you have, I'm blanking his name, and he says, you have an interesting look. I'm a photographer. Do you have 5 minutes? That's how and the people he meets and the stories they share are incredible. Normally you just walk by them on the street. They almost don't look like anybody important. Yet they're divine, and they've lived lives, and they have meaning. We all do. So when you go home today and look in the mirror, recognize that you are already worthy. If it was our time and I pass now, it's all good. Because we start with that perfection. Now we're just having some fun. We're playing games. And Reverend Josie, she's back where nothing... It's all good. It's unconditional love. And all this negativity and attachment and all these limiting thoughts and ideas get released because those are of this plane. They're there for a reason. So let's walk this walk together, yes? Yep. All right. I think that was it, maybe not. Oh, a key one. Love points the way. Law. And for those of you that are new, law... if you were liking it to Christianity, would be like the Holy Spirit. It's the movement of the divine in, as, and through life. And he calls it law, New Thought calls it law, because it operates in the sense as a law does. So the law of gravity is universal. It doesn't discriminate. If you jump off a cliff at the same time somebody else does, you're both hitting at the same time, period. It just does the same thing for everybody. Love points the way, right? So we want to make sure that we're opening and starting our day and taking temperature checks of, are we in love in the moment? That way, that which we are expressing is of love as well. I'm just going to skip to our affirmation. Affirmations, simple, profound practice. So let's do what we do as a community. I'm going to ask everybody to stand up, and we're just going to say this together. We're going to read it together once through, and then we're going to take a breath, anchor it in, and just declare it. All right, and am I in everybody's way? I'm going to try to move in the middle so you can all see. All right, so I'm going to give you a countdown in 3, 2, 1. rooted in spirit, I listen deeply and walk courageously. What I know in prayer, I live in love. All right, community breath. Hold it. Exhale. Good energy. Love, joy in your heart. Here we go. Rooted in spirit, I listen deeply and walk courageously. What I know in prayer, I live in love. And so it is. Please be seated. And let's anchor this in prayer. So, affirmative prayer. Step one is recognizing that God is all there is. And so I do that now. I recognize there is only one life, one power, one presence, one energy, one essence. It is expressing in, as, and through all of its creation, and I know that there is nothing outside of God. Step two, is unifying with this presence. So I know I am of God, as is every individual here and has ever been. For there is, again, nothing outside of God. So therefore, being of God, I am that unconditional love personified in this body, having this experience. And I am grateful to know, step three, grateful to know that this community is a community of unconditional love. That this community, being grateful for Reverend Josie de los Santos and her vision, that we continue love in the desert, unconditional love, not judgment, harmony, unity, as a community growing in the perfect way, progress, not perfection. Every step on this path, as we walk the edge together, we are upheld in the energy of love and light. Step four is offering thanks and gratitude. And with that breath, I am grateful, for I know that anything and everything I ever need is already provided. For I am of God. It's not my life and God's life. It is one life. And this community is a life of its own. Everyone present, hearing my voice online, whenever that happens, hears the voice of God, envisions the life, and feels that energy within them as desires, as insight, as clarity, and has the courage to express it in their own unique and perfect way. And step five is simply releasing it to that perfect love and law that make it possible in the highest and the best way for all. And so it is. Amen. Ellen?
Yes.
Bring it home, baby.
Anybody remember Jackie DeShannon? Kids don't. The song was a big hit the year we landed on the moon. Think of your fellow man, lend him a helping hand, put a little love in your heart. You see it's getting late, please don't hesitate, put a little love in your heart. And the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. The winter goes by, still the children cry. Put a little love in your heart. If you want the world to know, we won't let hatred grow. Put a little love in your heart, and the world will be a better place, and the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Take a good look around. If you're looking down, put a little love in your heart. I hope when you decide kindness will be your guide, put a little love in your heart. and the world will be a better place. Yes, the world will be a better place for you and me. Just wait and see. Put a little love in your heart. Take one every day. Put a little love in your heart. There's no other way. Put a little love in your heart. It's up to you. Put a little love in your heart. Come on now. Put a little love in your heart. We've got to.
Little Blues Brothers there. All right. So it's time to practice giving and receiving. This is a time we take for our offering. For those of you that are new, there is an offering bowl over there behind you to my right, your left. And there are also affirmation cards on the table because we believe in giving and receiving. So I ask you to lend your thoughts, lend your talents, lend your tithe to our community to allow us to continue to express the vision that we hold of this community rising. Right? That's our purpose, to arise individually and to arise together as a community, to recognize the unconditional love of who we are and expressing that in a world knowing that it is truly working for everyone, especially in, as, and through us. So we have an offering. Those are the ways that you can give. We do have an offering that we like to say together. Click, offering, slide, yes, affirmation. That's what I'm looking for. Thank you. So if you have something physical to give, thank you. If you have already given it, thank you. If all you have, and I don't mean that in any limited way, is your good thoughts, just put your hands over your heart as we say this affirmation together. I am overflowing with love and abundance. I give from the source of my being, which is rich and unlimited. With joy and excitement, I share from this overflow. In return, the universe gives back to me in infinite ways, channels, and means, and so it is. All right, so we're going to do a little instrumental. Feel free to give up and make your offering if you would like to. You could do it later if you want, that's fine.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed.
Thank you, Alan. We'll have our treasurer, Charles Smith, present the offerings. If you would like, I ask you to extend your hands as an extension of your heart, knowing and being grateful for that which has been given. We are grateful knowing that God and Source is abundant, and this abundance flows through you to the center and out back into the community, as well as home office, doing good and perfect works of progress, of growth, and transformation. We are grateful to be an avenue of this abundance and prosperity, and so it is. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so before we sing, just some changes that are continuing to happen. Core Council is working on new software. So in the near future, we're going to explain how that's going to positively affect our engagement together, including how we make our offerings, including the We're going to have a brand new website that has all of our information that you can actually go to stream and all that. So we are making positive progress, and that is with your contributions. So thank you. All right. We're going to sing, I'm sorry. Chug. Wrong kind of song. So we like to sing this one together as a community. I would love it if we can create a circle. If you're comfortable holding hands, that's fine. If not, you could just stand next to the person. That's all good. We got room to fill. Can't hold hands with the guitarist. Sorry, Jesse.
Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me. Yes, there is peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, loved ones all are we. Now we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and now it begins with me.
Be unto the one. Namaste. Have a blessed week, everybody. Thank you online. Brother, so good to see you, man. Good to see you.